Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm your host Mike Ventura, and today we're talking about iron deficiency on plant material. So what I'm going to do is show you a picture of a gardenia leaf, and you notice that the veins on this leaf are green and the area in between the veins are yellow. This is called iron deficiency or iron-induced chlorosis. It's extremely common on acid-loving plants. An example of this type of condition, you'll find it of course on gardenias, azaleas. You'll find it on roses, common on hibiscus. Plant material that requires a soil pH that's in the acidic range. When I say acidic range, I'm talking 6.5 on the pH scale and a little bit lower. The reason I bring this up is because when you have micronutrients or nutrients in general, plant material has a very good way of expressing when there's a problem with nutrient availability inside the soil. In this case, iron-induced chlorosis. What does that specifically mean? It means that your soil pH is beginning to slowly go up, and consequently, as the soil pH begins to go up, it becomes more alkali. As the soil becomes more alkali, what that means is that nutrients that are in the soil, in this case specifically iron, being a micronutrient, is maybe in the soil but is unavailable to the root system. See, what you want to remember is that you have a soil particle, and inside on that soil particle, you have the root system that wraps its root hairs, in this case the white root hairs, are wrapped around that soil particle, and they're picking up the nutrients that are on that soil particle. What happens is, as the soil pH begins to go up and up and up, those nutrients that are actually on the clay particle or on your soil particle in general, they may be in the soil, but they're unavailable to the root because the pH is going up and up and up. So what do you have to do? Now you have to amend the soil. The plant is telling you you have to amend the soil. How do you amend the soil? You can use a product that's organic in matter and also a product called gypsum. I'll explain both of them. The organic matter is needed, and again, you want to use a product that does not have weed seed in there, doesn't have any salts in there. What you want to do is you want to create or introduce oxygen inside that soil. What the organic matter does is it creates wedges inside of the soil, so all of a sudden you have available oxygen inside of the soil. That's extremely important. That way you have this oxygen down there and the soil is becoming more pliable. Consequently, micronutrients availability is becoming more likely. Adding gypsum to the soil is also very, very good. What is gypsum? Calcium sulfate. The calcium will work to give you better soil structure. Sulfur will work to reduce the soil pH. Now, one thing you want to remember is that when you're working with soils, soil conversion is a very slow process. It does not happen overnight. So you have to go through when you have to start learning when you're looking at plant material and you're going to start amending soil, expect it to take a while. What is important is once you start getting your soil pH where it should be, now you want to maintain it at that point. Remember, most of your plant material wants to be in the soil pH is between 6.5 and 7.0 on the pH scale. And that way, suddenly the micronutrients, in this case the iron, becomes available to the root via the soil, because now the iron that's inside the soil becomes available, so it gets pumped into the white root hairs, and from there it gets distributed out into the plant. So by maintaining a good soil pH, the acidic soil pH, iron availability happens, and consequently the plant is not going to start showing you intervening chlorosis. The organic matter has a tendency of breaking down very, very slowly, as does gypsum, and both gypsum and gypsum and organic matter play very, very well together. So you can combine them in a wheelbarrow or a bucket, incorporate that into your soil. What I do want to stress is that try not to do a whole lot of cultivation around the base of your plant. If you have to, work a little bit around there, wash all this into your soil. What you don't want to do is start digging around your plant material, trying to incorporate these products in, and consequently damage the root hairs, because these plants have got surface roots. And what you don't want to do is damage the white root hairs that do all the work for you as far as picking up the nutrients inside the soil. So what you do is you go to the outer edge of the plant, outside the crown area, I mentioned to you, put the product on top of the soil, and soak it all into the soil. And that will work just fine. Periodically doing this, if you do it maybe 2 or 3 times a growing season, that'll help maintain a nice low soil pH. Remember, organic matter breaks down very, very slowly. And with gypsum, the same thing. It doesn't break down quickly. So you're going to have to do it a couple times. But at least you're amending the soil and you're creating a soil environment that's beneficial for the plant material. It will help unlock micronutrients, in this case the iron, and it'll give the root system a more favorable environment to pick up the micronutrients that it's looking for. Okay, so with that, enjoy the garden.